dive into the intriguing history of the soldiers who became the main attraction in ancient Rome's most infamous spectacles. 1. Slavery wasn't always their fate. It's a misconception that all gladiators were shackled prisoners. Initially, many were indeed enslaved individuals or criminals, but tomb inscriptions from the 1st century AD indicate a shift. The allure of combat and the crowd's cheers drew numerous free individuals to willingly enter contracts with gladiator schools, seeking fame and monetary rewards. These self-employed fighters often included down-on-their luck individuals or former soldiers adept in combat. However, there were also members from the higher echelons of society, aristocrats, knights, and even senators, who wanted to showcase their martial prowess. 2. Gladiator matches began as funeral rituals. While many old texts suggested that the Roman games were borrowed from the Etruscans, it's now widely believed by historians that these combats originated from blood rituals performed during the funerals of affluent Romans. When notable nobles passed away, their kin would organize combat sessions at the gravesite, featuring slaves or condemned individuals, serving as a dark tribute to the deceased's life virtues. Roman authors like Tertullian and Festus noted that the Romans held a belief in the purifying power of human blood for the souls of the departed. Thus, these clashes might have served as an alternative to direct human sacrifices. These commemorative battles expanded notably during Julius Caesar's rule, who arranged grandiose gladiatorial combats in memory of his late father and daughter. Due to their immense popularity, by the close of the 1st century BC, state leaders began sponsoring these games, seeing them as an avenue to gain public goodwill. 3. Death wasn't always the outcome of their battles. While popular media often portrays gladiator fights as savage and unchecked, in reality, these combats were often conducted under stringent guidelines. Duels were usually between two fighters of comparable skill and stature. Officials monitored the fights, likely intervening when one combatant was critically injured. If a battle dragged on too long and bored the spectators, it could be declared a draw. In some exceptional instances, if both fighters entertained the audience sufficiently, they might both exit the arena with their honor intact. Given the substantial investment in maintaining and training gladiators, their owners were not keen on seeing them killed without cause. They were possibly trained to inflict injury without delivering a fatal blow, and the gladiators themselves might have aimed to avoid mortally wounding their fellow fighters. However, the gladiators' existence was generally harsh and brief. Many didn't live past their 20s. Historical approximations suggest that 1 in every 5 to 10 fights resulted in the death of one participant. 4. The iconic thumbs down sign might not have signaled death. When a gladiator was gravely injured or conceded defeat by dropping his weapon, his survival rested on the crowd's whim. In the Colosseum's matches, the emperor usually had the ultimate say on the fallen gladiator's fate, but often, the decision was deferred to the public sentiment. Contrary to popular depictions in art and movies, a thumbs down from the crowd may not have demanded the death of a defeated gladiator. Some scholars argue that a thumbs up might have been the actual death signal, while gestures like a closed fist with 2 fingers outstretched, a thumbs down, or even waving a handkerchief might have indicated clemency. Regardless of the exact gesture, the crowd's decision was vocalized with emphatic shouts of either release him or finish him. If the masses demanded it, the triumphant gladiator would end his adversary's life, usually with a fatal strike between the shoulder blades or a thrust through the neck reaching the heart. 5. They belong to varied classes and specialized styles. By the inaugural games at the Colosseum in 80 AD, gladiatorial combats had transitioned from unstructured death matches to a meticulously organized martial sport. Combatants were categorized based on their achievements, expertise, and proficiency, with most focusing on distinct combat techniques and weapons. Among the crowd favorites were the threses and myrmidons, sword and shield wielders. There were also the equites, who made their debut in the arena atop horses, the esiderii, chariot-borne combatants, and the dimiceres, who potentially brandished dual swords. Among the array of gladiatorial types, the retiarius was notably distinct, armed solely with a trident and a net. Their primary tactic was to trap adversaries using the net before going in for the final blow. However, a missed attempt rendered them largely vulnerable. 6. Encounters with animals were not a frequent affair for them. While Roman amphitheaters like the Colosseum are synonymous with brutal animal combats, gladiators seldom participated in these events. Confrontations with fierce creatures were primarily designated for the venatores and bestiarii, distinct classes of fighters who faced an array of animals, from deer and ostriches to more formidable foes like lions, crocodiles, bears, and even the mighty elephants. Usually, animal hunts inaugurated the games, often resulting in the mass killing of the creatures in one single spectacle. To commemorate the Colosseum's inauguration, a staggering 9,000 animals met their demise over a 100-day event. Later, Emperor Trajan hosted a 123-day festivity in the 2nd century AD, where another 11,000 animals were sacrificed. While the majority of these creatures faced a tragic end purely for amusement, some were trained for tricks or even set against each other in combat. Additionally, utilizing wild beasts as instruments of execution was a popular practice. Criminals and Christians found guilty were frequently cast into the arena to face hungry dogs, lions, or bears, adding a macabre touch to the day's diversions. 7. Female gladiators were a part of the games. The exact timeline of when women first donned the armor to participate as gladiators is somewhat unclear. However, by the 1st century AD, female gladiators had become a recurring sight in the arena. While the predominant male-centric Roman society might not have fully embraced them, certain women managed to make their mark in combat. A stone carving from roughly the 2nd century AD illustrates a clash between two female warriors named Amazon and Achillea. According to the inscriptions, their duel ended in a commendable tie. Beyond fighting against each other, women took part in the wild animal hunts as well. However, their time in the spotlight may have been curtailed around 200 AD, as Emperor Septimius Severus prohibited them from engaging in the gladiatorial contests. 8. Gladiators often formed collective associations. While they might have been opponents in the arena, outside of it, gladiators often considered each other as part of a fraternity. Some took the step to create organized associations or collegia, complete with chosen leaders and guardian gods. When one of their members met his end in combat, these associations were responsible for bestowing a fitting burial and commemorating his accomplishments with a grave marker. Moreover, if the fallen had a family, these groups ensured that financial support was provided to the grieving kin. 9. Multiple Roman leaders took part in theatrical gladiator matches. While organizing gladiator games was a popular method for Roman leaders to curry favor with the masses, some went beyond the role of mere spectators. Emperors such as Caligula, Titus, and Hadrian are known to have engaged in the arena, albeit likely under very controlled circumstances or using blunted weapons. The notorious Emperor Commodus had a particular flair for these displays. An expert with the spear, he would often impress audiences by slaying animals like bears and panthers, albeit from an elevated, safe platform. He didn't stop there. Commodus also took to the arena against less experienced gladiators or even panic-stricken, inadequately armed spectators. After his predictable victories, he generously awarded himself a grand prize of 1,000,000 Roman sesterces. 10. Gladiators often rose to the status of pop icons and heartthrobs. While some Roman scholars looked down upon them as mere savages, gladiators were adored by the common populace. Their images adorned public spaces, children cherished clay figurines fashioned in their likeness, and the most eminent among them even had product sponsorships akin to today's sports stars. Moreover, gladiators held a certain allure for Roman women. Inscriptions from Pompeii hint at their romantic appeal, mentioning one gladiator who nets the ladies by night and another hailed as every maiden's dream. Many women sported accessories like hairpins soaked in gladiator blood, and some even incorporated gladiator perspiration, believed to be a love potion, into beauty products and cosmetics.